Hello everyone, welcome to this video on how to utilize and configure the pivot grid in the Bold BI dashboard. Let's see an overview of the pivot grid. Pivot grid allows you to group field values into individual items of a more extensive table within one or more discrete categories. It allows you to display summarized data in a cross-tabular format, that is rows and columns. Next, let's move on to the features of a pivot grid. One of the major features of a pivot grid is totaling values that are the aggregated result of rows or columns. Next, you can apply hierarchical grouping for rows and columns so that the data can be grouped to better analyze it as a subset of data. The pivot grid allows you to persist in its state. This feature is helpful when dealing with large data sets that have many unique categories in a column that must be grouped. You can focus on specific categories and expand specific nodes to perform dynamic operations like sorting and filtering. Next, with the pivot grid in Bold BI, row and column items without data can also be displayed by enabling the Show No Data item. Then, you can apply conditional formatting to the values of a pivot grid to be alerted when a threshold value is reached. Linking plays an important role in interactive data visualization for analysis. You can also link data in individual cells to URLs containing related content. Interactive sorting is possible in the pivot grid where sorting value columns can be handled by clicking the value column header. Let me show you how to configure a pivot grid in the Bold BI dashboard. This balance sheet dashboard shows the financial state of the company. Investors, market analysts, and others track the financial health of a company for a particular period of the year using this. Here the overall financial statement pivot grid showcases the assets, liabilities, equity, and more of a company over a period of time. Now, I am going to recreate this widget for your real-time experience. I drag and drop the pivot grid into the canvas and resize it. Next, I will add the necessary columns to achieve the widget goal under the Measure Values section. I'll also add year and quarter dimension values under the Rows section to filter the entire row-level data based on these columns. The year date field is used to apply filters year-wise and quarter-wise by enabling each functionality through dimension field settings. Now, the widget is successfully configured. On the widget, the arrow symbol allows you to enable and disable sorting property for the group bar. The filter icon allows you to enable and disable the filtering property. Under Grand Total settings in the Properties panel, you can show or hide properties for grand and subtotals of rows and columns. You can also provide proper naming conventions for the columns using the Edit Field Settings icon. Next, customize the color of the grid using the Advanced Conditional Formatting option. These are default properties that are applied while configuring the widget. You can also utilize it based on your need. Let's preview and apply some filters to the pivot grid. We have successfully recreated the widget and completed the overview of the pivot grid widget. Please leave a comment with any questions or if there are any additional features you would like to see in Bold BI. Thanks for watching.